Okay,
it's 8 now.
Okay, so it is officially 8 p.m. Again, thank you everyone who are currently tuning in. So I will first introduce myself. My name is Marylyn and I am representing Zero Waste Malaysia tonight, whereas our special guest here is Aurora Tin. Woo! Big round of
Ooh,
applause.
hello, good evening, everyone. I am Aurora.
Well, so let's just go through the topic we are having for tonight again. So tonight's topic will be how do we maintain a low waste lifestyle during the pandemic? I will begin first by because some of you may not actually have seen me before. I have never appeared on the Zero Waste Malaysia platform, so you may not even know who I am. So my name is Marylyn. I have been volunteering with Zero Waste Malaysia since February last year. And I was involved in several projects since last year as well. In December of last year, we had Project Zero fundraising campaign, whereby we set some ambitious targets that we want to achieve in 2020. So this year, Zero Waste Malaysia decided that we want to appoint several individuals that are able to hopefully bring Zero Waste Malaysia to greater heights. So one of those individuals appointed is myself. So currently I am holding the role as head of outreach and engage. So basically what I do is I assist our director, Suyi, in matters pertaining to outreach and engagement and project work. Hi Kamini, hi Melissa. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Melissa. Kamini, please ask more questions. Hi, Stanley.
Okay, and then our special guest for tonight, I'm sure most of you have seen her before many, many times in videos, posts, even our Facebook, Instagram comments, because of course, Aurora is very dedicated, very passionate, very driven in the zero waste movement. She is actually the founder of Zero Waste Malaysia, and since 2016, herself and many others, including Suyi, Yura, who I believe was our first volunteer for Zero Waste Malaysia, and many other communities started back in 2016 to really drive the zero waste movement here in Malaysia. So big round of applause to Aurora. Thank you very much for joining us today. Woo. Okay, so I guess we'll start with the first question. Tonight's session will be more of a chit chat and question and sharing session instead of a tutorial such as what we did on Monday. So first question that I have for Aurora is, how did you learn about the zero waste lifestyle and what made you start to implement that in your lifestyle as well?
Okay, I get asked this question for many times. But I never, tiring of answering this question because it was a very amazing journey for me. And I started this journey on 2016, 1st January. And before that, I was a journalist and I wrote a lot of articles about environmental issues like climate change and, plastic pollutions. But every time when I was writing the article, I ate a lot of snacks like chocolates, biscuits, and stuff like that. By the time I finished writing my article, my trash bin is full of trash. So one day I don't know why, maybe the light of God suddenly shed on me, and I suddenly feel that I should stop talking and start doing something. And at that time I watched a video by Lauren Singer, and I know about this zero waste concept, and I thought that, oh wow, this is a cool idea that everyone can start doing something for the environment, that we don't have to wait for the government, we don't have to wait for the corporate to make the change, but for ourselves we can start making change from our home. So that is when I decided to practice zero waste in Malaysia. And another purpose that I do this is to show people the possibility of making change at individual level. Because before I started, a lot of people told me that it is impossible, it's impossible to live zero waste in Malaysia, because Malaysia is a third world country and we don't have so high tech waste management system, and we don't have very fancy products. That's why we cannot live zero waste. So I don't believe in them, and that's why I want to do and prove them wrong. Yeah, that's why I started.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I think a lot of people can relate to that because for me, myself as well, I saw Lauren Singer's TED Talk. And a lot of people that I talk with when they found out about this zero waste movement is as well, they saw that video as well. And it's good. I really like how you mentioned that just because the government cannot isn't doing much, or if we are living in a third world country, it doesn't mean that we don't have the power to make a change. So it's really very, very inspiring.
But it also doesn't mean that we are putting pressure or responsibility on the shoulder of consumer or individuals. It means that we, regardless your background, you are from big company, or you are working for government, or you are just a small potato like me, you can do something. You don't have to wait people to save the world. You can start saving the world starting from your home. So I think that is the spirit of zero waste lifestyle, and that's why it's getting so popular across the world, because it's so easy and everyone can do it. So yeah.
I agree. Okay, so let's get back to topic, because our topic today is specifically on low waste lifestyle during the pandemic, during this MCO or conditional MCO that we're currently living in. Can I just get like the general overview on your lifestyle during this period? Has it changed much? Is it good? Is it bad?
I will say it is progressing. It keeps changing every day according to the development of the pandemic. So I will say this is one of the biggest challenge that I have faced on my 4-year journey on zero waste. So at first we underestimated the power, the impact of MCO. So we didn't actually do anything about that until on the first day we realized that, oh my God, oh wow, all the shops are closing and we couldn't even get food easily from restaurants. So at that time, because I was just back from China, so my kitchen shelf is basically like empty. So there's no food at all at my home, and I thought it would be okay because I always think that, okay, I have so many zero waste shops around me, I can always get whatever I want from them anytime. But unfortunately they all closed down one by one. So at the first 1 or 2 weeks it was very hard for us. We couldn't get food, and we have to strictly control our movement. That means we cannot go out as frequent as we want. So we make a lot of compromises. So that is why I also bringing this to show you guys. Okay, don't be shocked by me. Okay, this is only 30% of the recyclables that I collected in the past 2 months, less than 2 months. Just 30% of it. You can see that, okay, we bought so many things that I'm not supposed to buy. But yeah, like all this Tetra Pak, the milk. This is not new one. This is the reused packaging. And I also bought like eggs in paper carton because we couldn't go to Pasar, the wet market, and we ate a lot of canned food. Because I don't have many food at my home, and my cooking skills is very like sucks. So I can't cook good food, and at the end we all suffer, and we always starve at night, when we sleep, and then we always stare at the window and thinking about all the delicious food, and that makes us very happy. But after few weeks of learning, trials and errors, I slowly fill up my kitchen cabinet with all the food that I need, and I cook more, and my culinary skills get better. So now I'm very happy that we eat less packaged food like milk. We seldom drink milk anymore because I started to make my own drinks. This is kombucha, and it tastes like soda drinks, because we also bought a lot of canned soft drinks, and canned food we don't eat that much anymore. And I also started to order like vegetable box because the wet market that is nearby my neighborhood is shut down because somebody in the Pasar contracted COVID-19. So at first we went to the supermarket, and then supermarket, a lot of trash. Then we went to pasar, and I feel very good at that time. But after 2 weeks, somebody contracted virus from the pasar. Pasar shut down.
Oh
I
my
have to go
God.
back to the supermarket. So this is my life during MCO. It's up and down, but I have learned so much during the journey, and I make a lot of compromises and also a lot of adaptations.
So actually today, if you guys don't realize, today is actually day 50 since the MCO started in March 18th. So for myself, if I want to share a little bit as well. Same like you, I wasn't also expecting that this MCO will be extended for this long, right? Like, I guess a lot of us were still hopeful that, okay, it's just 2 weeks. Okay, it's just 4 weeks. So we didn't stock up much. And we also shouldn't be like stocking up so much from, hogging all of the food anyway. So same like you as well. I buy a lot of my dry food items, household items from zero waste stores. Now I don't really have access to them anymore. So some of my supplies are running out. I recently did buy more from a zero waste store because they are still open and doing deliveries during this period. I also start to support like local small businesses who I know offer really minimal packaging with their groceries. I have also, I guess, changed my diet a little bit. So I have been interested to incorporate more vegetables and less meat in my diet anyway. So these days I have been eating a lot more vegetables because a lot of the small businesses that offer grocery deliveries have a lot of fresh produce that they can offer. So yeah, that's how I've been coping as well. Definitely not. I also probably produce like just as much waste as you did, probably even more. But that's it's really how we try our best to reduce our waste where we can. For myself, I noticed that I can reduce my waste in the kitchen in terms of my food waste because I have full control of the food that I'm making every day. I don't eat out anymore, so I save money on that as well. I cook every day, so I control my waste there. Like definitely no food waste whatsoever.
So I think you're right. There are many bright sides of the pandemic because definitely many of us we create more trash than we expected. But at the same time, there are some benefits that we have gained from this pandemic that we are not aware of. For example, we eat less meat, and we travel much less. We consume less. We save so much money. So that is the benefit of that we learn from this pandemic. And instead of looking of what we cannot do and what we fail to do, I think it will be better that we can look at what we have done and what we have contributed to the environment as a whole, like not just trash, but also our carbon emission is greatly reduced during this pandemic. So I feel a bit guilty about creating more trash that I should create, but at the same time, I'm not that worry. I'm not worried about that because I know that at personal level, at a whole level, my consumption, my carbon emission level is much lower than before.
Okay, so actually we have two comments on dealing with low waste when you are not living with people who are supportive. So one comment asked about how do you try to be low waste when your parents are not supportive or when they don't really understand the importance of keeping the environment a priority, and how do we convince people that actually living zero waste isn't expensive?
Okay, so actually my answer to this question is never to force your values on somebody else, because living zero waste is your own choice. It's never other people's choice, including your parents, including your husband or anyone who is living with you. So putting your values on somebody else is very, very difficult. So if you are married, So if you have husband or wife, you will understand how difficult to ask them to make a small change for you. Okay, so don't expect them to change their whole lifestyle because you want to go zero waste. So my advice to this question is that always just focus on yourself, do whatever you can. Of course, when you are living with somebody else, you have to make compromises, especially when you are living with parents and you are not cooking by yourself, your parents prepare all the food for you. You just take it and look at what else that you can do that won't involve them, you know. So if you want them to, improve a little bit on their waste management, I think communications is very important. For example, I don't live with my parents, but I keep communicating with them. I keep telling them what I'm doing. And my parents, they were not supportive at all when I just started. And my father, especially, he's like very stubborn. And he even don't understand what zero waste until today. But with communication, by showing them by your action, but not just talking, showing them by your action, slowly they will understand, oh, okay, my girl, she doesn't want to use plastic bag. She always bring her own containers to take away food, and slowly it takes time, but they will make improvements. For example, my parents, my father, he now will bring containers when he take away food for me. I never asked him to do so. I just told him that, okay, if you go out to buy food for me and it is in plastic packaging, and it's fine, but don't buy for me. So because he loved me so much and he wanted to buy food for me, so he will always bring the containers to take away food for me. And also another tips is that you can help them to prepare like containers, and help them to get bulk food and introduce them the benefit of zero waste lifestyle, and let them to appreciate the beauty of living zero waste. And once they know, oh wow, zero waste is not troublesome at all and it's not costly at all, I believe they will love to try it a little bit. Like for example, my mom, I bought her a bottle of baking soda, and I told her this is super cheap, like 1 ringgit for a big bottle, and then you can use it to wash your toilet. And she didn't believe at first, but I just bought for her and asked her to use. And once she used it, she loved it so much. And when it's finished, and she kept asking me to refill for her, because to her this is not about environment, this is about money saving. And baking soda is so effective. It saves so much money for her, and also it's so easy to scrub all the toilet and do the washing just using one ingredient. So that's my suggestion. And always, do not try to change somebody else. Start from yourself. If they are not following your values, you can always focus on what else that you can do in your life instead of hoping somebody else to make the change.
Yeah, very good explanation. Okay, second question that we have is, how do we convince, what advice do you have for people who do not have access to zero waste stores? So I believe you also have some tips on online shopping, right?
You mean during the pandemic, or this is Kamini, so
Yeah.
not just during the pandemic. I guess she's asking like during
okay.
all the time. Okay, so actually zero waste stores, they provide a lot of conveniency to this lifestyle, but they are not necessary to me. Because when I started my zero waste journey in 2016, there was no zero waste store in Malaysia. No, there was no zero waste store in Malaysia. And I moved to different places, and I traveled to many places that do not have zero waste stores. But it doesn't affect how I live zero waste, because living zero waste is not about what you buy. It's about the whole values, that refusing the things that you don't need. You don't need the zero waste store to refuse the things, and reusing, reducing, recycling, and growth. There's no like revisiting zero waste store in the 5R principle. So zero waste store to me is not a necessary thing to me. And I last year moved to China, and I lived there for a while, and there was literally no zero waste store in the whole city. But I still can live my zero waste lifestyle there. The key is to always explore your community, your neighborhood. And I always say that it is very simple to live zero waste in Malaysia, because Malaysia is a country where we are still keeping a lot of traditional business everywhere. So when I first started my zero waste journey, the first place that I went to was the Ketai Runcit, like the small grocery shop in my Daman, and also the wet market that my mom always go there, and the Indian grocery stores. All these traditional place, they still selling a lot of food. I can say most of the food that you need in your life in bulk, because that's how we used to live in Malaysia. We do not need those individual packaging, like small packaging or plastic packaging, any kind of packaging to live in Malaysia. Many people still buy bulk because firstly, a lot of people living like B14 people, group of people, they always buy bulk from this place because they can't afford to buy 1 kg of sugar. Their daily wage only can afford them to buy maybe 50 gram of it instead of 1 kg. So that's why we have so many bulk stores, not bulk stores, like traditional grocery stores that sell bulk foods in Malaysia. So when you start going zero waste, don't think about zero waste stores first, and don't be disappointed if your area don't have zero waste stores. Zero waste stores can help you to go zero waste so much easier, but it is not necessary to have your zero waste store to go zero waste.
Yep, I agree. I definitely agree on that as well. But let's talk about during this pandemic. So before, when we were having the MCO period, right? So now it is conditional MCO. So some people are able to go out and like buy their own groceries. But before, when we were relying on food delivery or maybe going to supermarkets, how do we try and go zero waste buying delivery online or yeah?
So, okay, I have many tips for different activities like during pandemic. For example, when you go to grocery shopping, some people told me that some people now, because they worry so much about virus, so they will use as many plastic bag as possible to wrap all the stuff that they buy from the supermarket. So my advice is to bring your own cloth bag to put all the stuff that you buy from supermarket, because cloth bag is easy to carry. And another point is that you don't have to take another stuff outside of your house, because there's a risk that there are virus on the plastic bags, right? And once you get back to home, you can always put the cloth bag into the washing machine and wash it. And it is proof that putting the cloth bag to wash in the washing machine can kill virus effectively. So there's no worries about that. The least that you can do to go zero waste during pandemic is to bring your own cloth bag to shop. And also we can, when we are choosing our grocery items, we can always choose like bigger packaging instead of like small individual packaging, and always choose the recyclable packaging instead of non-recyclable packaging. For example, when I was shopping, I always choose metal, glass, and then plastic, and the last option is always like the mixed packaging like Tetra Pak. And if you don't have so many cloth bag, and also you want to buy fresh vegetables from the supermarket, you can always reuse the plastic bag that you already have at your home. For example, you can bring 10 different plastic bags, the small white transparent plastic bags, and you use that to buy fresh produce from supermarket. I tried it before and it works, because they don't care about what plastic bag you use it, and they just want to make sure that you don't steal potatoes or garlic or onions from them. And the last tips is that you need to plan ahead. Of course, don't just go there and see, oh wow, so many things I can buy. Wow, this one I also want, that one I also want. But then end up you will create many trash that is out of your plan. So plan ahead is very important. And for the food delivery, I don't have any experience for that because I never ordered food delivery service before. But I can imagine that we have so much to do when we order food. When you have to order food delivery, the first thing you can do is to remove the single-use cutleries and what small packaging like potatoes, tomato sauce from your order. You just put a note for them that I don't want single-use cutleries. I have many chopsticks at home already. Don't send it to me. Some notes like that, but of course you can put it in a more polite way. And also when you order, you try to order together from the same with your family from the same restaurant. So for example, if I want to order from this shop, then maybe I can invite my husband to order from the same shop so that we can reduce the packaging that we use. And the next thing is when you finish enjoying your food, you can always recycle the packaging of this from this delivery service, because most of the packaging that they use for food delivery is actually reusable and recyclable. So I'm living with some housemates, and every time when I saw them, order food delivery service, and then after that they would throw everything away. I feel a little bit, very, very, very kasian, very pity, because all those packaging, like the good quality containers, you can reuse for so many times. If you don't want to reuse it, you can always send them for recycling after the pandemic is over. So yeah, that is a lot of things that we can do, but the key points is always remember the 5R principles of the zero waste lifestyle, which is refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. So if you can refuse, better you don't order food delivery lah. But I know it is very difficult, especially you have to cook 3 meals a day for 2 months. It is very so sometimes if you have to, then you try to reduce the trash that you create in one delivery service, and then try to reuse it. If cannot reuse, recycle it, and don't forget to compost or rot any food waste from this meal. So that is how we slowly reduce or minimize the waste that we create from our activity.
Okay, good tips. Next one that we have is about our daily food lah, since we were talking about food just now as well. How do you go low waste with your daily meal? And can you actually share us what is your typical meal of the day?
During pandemic?
Yes.
Okay. I am a really bad example, but I would love to share with you that, but don't follow me, because my husband and me, we are small eater, and we are not very particular on our food choice. So at the first few weeks of MCO, we ate mostly canned food and some fresh vegetables and rice. We still can get bulk rice from wet market. It's quite easy, and eggs, because we don't cook meat at home. So that's basically all we have. And we can't get tofu or mushrooms as well, because every time we went to wet market, we always went there around noon time to avoid crowds. So we don't want to like fight with all those aunties and then spread all the virus. So we always went there around noon, and by that time, tofu already sorted out, all the other food all sorted out. So we eat very plain and like not very delicious. That's why we rely a lot on processed food, canned food, because when you eat planned meals every day, you are craving for sugar and like all those deep fried stuff or very highly processed food. And now it's getting better because we order veggie box from a local community, organic community. So they send vegetables to us once a week. So that is the veggies that we will have for 1 week. And we also order some bulk foods from zero waste store. There are still some zero waste store operating during this period of time, but they only do delivery. So we order like rice or noodles and flour, things like that. And also bread, because bread I always buy from the taman that that the where the pasar is located, the pasar that is shut down because of COVID-19, and we used to buy bread
Mm.
from that taman. So now we cannot buy from there because there is a red zone. So I try to make something using flour, and I make some very scary bun out of the flour, but it temporarily solved our problem. And because now I make more food from raw material, so our life is getting better. We don't craving for processed food anymore. And yeah, so I would say we are healthier now than the first few weeks of MCO. So we eat like vegetables, we eat rice, sometimes we have tofu from the vegetable box, and eggs. Eggs is very easy to get them without packaging or in paper carton. And yeah, that's
Mm.
pretty much all we eat every day. And some once a week when we do grocery shopping, we take away some crazy food like very oily and very delicious food to fill our desire.
Yeah. No, I've also actually also seen the food that you posted, like the buns that you made the other day, the
Oh,
cassava, what
kue
cassava
bigayu.
cake.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
yeah. Those times. So I'm sure you've been eating quite healthy as well.
Oh, that's just last few weeks. Started like last week or 2 weeks ago. Since you gave me the SCOBY to make kombucha, so Marilyn, she
and
gave
then you
me,
started
yeah, she gave me the ink
you
to
start to
make
get inspired and
yeah, because we were so craving for sugary drinks, and because the tea lights and all those bubble milk tea shop, they don't allow us to use our own containers anymore. We tried different shops, they don't allow, and we were craving for sugary drinks, and so we bought many like Coca-Cola, like Pepsi, like that. So I am very honest. So, but now this is
now
not.
Elsie call you the kombucha queen.
Yes.
Okay, so as also I realized that you have also been growing or germinating your own vegetables,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And I've seen other people doing that as well. Maybe you want to talk about that too.
Yeah, I'm trying to regrow some vegetables
Must eat
using the
carrot or something.
yeah the food scraps that, but I don't think it will be successful. I think it's just for fun. It's just for entertainment. I can show you. This is my inject siloba. This is the first thing that we planted like maybe 4 weeks ago. I think 4 weeks ago. Yeah, this is we grow this from the tip of the carrot, but we don't know how far it can go. I don't think this is enough for us to survive, right? I can just finish it in one bite. But this is very fun, and this is also one way to reuse your food scraps and reduce your food waste, because food waste is a big problem for many people now, especially when you don't have compost bin and you cook so much at home, so you will produce many food scraps, but there are many ways that you can reduce them.
Mm. Okay, so we have a couple of questions coming in as well. I will address one. So I am this person said Siu Eng Chua said that I am torn about bringing my own container to Tapao. Are we being fair to the vendor because they have to trust that every single customer is not infected and their containers are virus free? So I've heard of this before as well. In my experience, when I go out to Tapao, they've accepted my own containers lah. But I do hear that some vendors, some restaurants, they don't allow you to bring your own container because they're scared that again what he explained there may be virus in that on that container and they don't want to wash it, so they just like give their own as well. Do you have thoughts on that or have you experienced that before?
Yes, I only get rejected by like the chain stores because maybe I believe they have their SOP to follow. So when they rejected our BYOB, BYOC request, we can just say thank you and walk away. We don't have to force our value again on other people. So we don't make things hard. But for other vendors, like small vendors like hawkers or restaurants, they are fine with people bringing on containers. And in fact, I believe that there are more and more people bringing their own containers during this period of time, because maybe some of them, they are worried about using plastic bags. They prefer to use their own containers. So I can see that there are quite a number of people taking away food using their own containers. So far, we never get rejected, and if we get rejected, we can always say no problem. We can just go other places. So to answer this question, I think if you feel that it is unfair to the vendor, the thing that you can do is don't take away food. If you want to reduce your weight, at the same time you don't want to force them to do something they don't feel comfortable to do so, you can always cook at home, cook more, don't take away. And if you're really craving for food, you can, I don't know, sometimes when you have no other options, you just take it, whatever the life give you. Okay. So when they say, okay, no, you are not allowed to use your own containers, you can only use our plastic bag, so just take it, it's okay. And remember the 5R principle: refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. If you cannot refuse, you try to reduce. If you cannot reduce, then you try to reuse it. So once you get the plastic bag, you can always reuse it for thousands of times. So I must highlight here that a zero waste lifestyle is never a standard, or it's never an examination or a test that you have to reach to a certain point that you can call yourself zero waster or living zero waste lifestyle. It is more like a philosophy that guide you through your whole life, and always let you understand what else you can do better to improve your the way of your life, and how you can do better to the environment. So for example, if you believe in the philosophy of being kind to everyone that you meet, but it is impossible that we always be kind to everyone all the time in our whole life, right? Sometimes we can be a little bit bitchy, so we fail to be kind. But it doesn't mean you do not believe in this philosophy anymore, or you fail in practicing this philosophy. So it is fine not to to break some rules during the whole journey. But as long as you are still believe in it, and you are still trying your best to practice it, then you are still on this journey, and you are still living a zero waste lifestyle, and you can still call yourself a zero waster. Don't believe those bullshit articles saying that only people like Lauren Singer or B Johnson is zero waste. I never meet anyone that is truly zero waste. Even B Johnson, do you remember the jar that she always show? That is trash. That's not zero, right? So it is not about being perfect. It is about keep trying. And B Johnson and Lauren Singer just showing us the possibility of going that far. They're just giving us the inspiration, all the endless possibilities that you can always do in your life. But for how far you can go, or how far you want to go, this is up to you. And you have to tailor this philosophy according to your preference, according to your background, according to your religion, according to your anything. But as long as you still believe in this philosophy, then you are still a zero waster. Oh, finally
Very well
saying
said,
everything
Aurora.
out. Now very like a
Very well
philosopher.
said.
Huh?
No, that's also why I like the Zero Waste Malaysia community, where be it the volunteer community or the Facebook community, everyone is always very encouraging. Like no one is there to like bring each other down, like to judge you, like, oh, why do you use this or that? Like everyone is just there to share, to help each other out. And that's why I like it lah.
Yeah, who are we to judge?
Um
Everyone has different difficulties in their life, and if you are a single mother, how can we expect her to use cloth diapers for her babies? It is not reasonable, but there are still many things that this single mother can do besides of, using cloth diaper. Thank you, Kamini. I literally clapped.
Yeah, Kamini also literally clapped.
Yeah, and also like Lauren Singers, you still use cosmetics. Why is it so important to use lipsticks and blush and all the eyeliner? Is that so important? Yes, it is so important for Lauren Singer. So if anything is very important for you, then just go do it. You have to, what you have to look at is something that is not important to you, something that is so extra, so unnecessary, that you can remove them from your life and simplify your life.
Okay. Thank you so much for that insight, Aurora. Let's move to another topic, which is composting and recycling. So we will just cover a little bit of this because we will have another session next week. If I'm not mistaken, we will have a session next week on composting itself. But there is one question on how do we compost food waste without buying new compost bin, because Lychee's compost bin is very full already. So that's her question.
So how can we compost without buying new compost bin? Is that the question? Oh,
yeah.
We don't need to buy new compost bin to compost because there are many different ways to compost. So the most common one that we see in the community is hot composting, which is basically you put food waste and the brown materials into one bin and use the heat to decompose them. So you need a bin, but actually you do not need a bin. You just need to put them together in anywhere that doesn't affect your life. And you, for example, under a tree or under a leaves or dig a hole, then you can still do hot composting. Putting a bin is just to make it look nicer, and also rats won't come in and eat your food. So if you must use a bin, you can always make it out of like used bin that you can just go take a walk in your taman, and then you will see, oh, so many dump bins along the street. Then you just pick it up. You take one home back to your home, and then you drill some holes at the wall or at the bottom, then it becomes a bin. That is how I made my 2 compost bin. I never buy new compost bin. So if you have a garden, you can always just throw your food scraps at the corner of your garden. That's how I do it. I have 2 compost bin, but because I'm very lazy to open it and close it every time when I have to throw my food scraps, so now I just throw it on the ground and cover with leaf. So I think, Marylyn, you are starting your own compost bin, right? Because last week you asked me to lend you the drill. Maybe you can share with them because you are living in condo. I'm not living in condo, so
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I feel like it really depends on your circumstance as well, where you're staying, right? If you stay at like a landed house property, then of course you can go to your backyard, dig a hole, or even use like the wires to just set aside a place to do your composting lah. But if you live in a condo like me, I do get a bin, like a trash bin that I got from Mr. DIY actually. But my mistake is that I didn't drill holes in it. I knew that I had to drill holes, but I was experimenting to see if I can do away with it. But I couldn't because I have maggots now. So I need to be able to have oxygen in my compost bin lah. So again, we will cover this in another session in detail, so stay tuned for that. Because we are running out of time, we want to maintain this in less than an hour. So we have about 15 more minutes to cover everything. Yeah, Aurora, is that okay?
Yeah. Okay, I get your hint. I need to make my answer shorter.
No worries. Okay, so we have a couple of questions regarding recycling. So one is regarding pizza takeaways. This person is asking, have you tried takeaway pizza zero waste without packaging? And there's also another person asking about this person is new to KL and her or his apartment doesn't have any recycling bin, and is this normal in KL, and how can she or he recycle plastics and papers? So I guess I have experience with taking away or getting pizza as takeouts before. So what I did is actually I just again presented my container. And so this was before MCO. So during MCO, maybe it's a bit different. But before MCO, I presented my container and I said, "Oh, can you put it in this container?" And that's what they did. During MCO, you can use again those paper containers that you take pizza in. You can put it in your compost bin as well, because it serves as the brown part, the carbon part where you can compost. So those containers are compostable. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, like what you say, I try to take away pizza before. I use my like 4-tier, very old school containers to take away Pizza Hut, and I just asked them to slice the pizza for me and put them like one piece by piece into my containers, and they have no problem to do so. And if you must take away using the paper packaging, like what Marylyn suggested, you can always compose it. And if it is not stained, so it's still clean, you can always recycle the box, but only for those part that is still clean, because recycling is always better than rotting, because by rotting the material, you only can I think obtain 1% of the whole energy of this packaging by rotting the packaging. So recycling can recover more energy of this material. So if you can, you do recycling first before you go rotting.
Okay. And then a second question on where can one person recycles, I think it was plastic and glass. I don't remember
I
now.
think we haven't
Plastics and
answered.
papers.
I think we haven't answered another question. There's one person living in condo and no recycling bins, and is it?
Yeah, that one. Yes.
Okay, yes, and
Yeah. So how
actually,
can
it is normal. If your condo has a recycling bin, that is abnormal in Malaysia. Maybe it's not abnormal; it is good. So usually they don't provide a recycling bin, although many states have implemented the waste segregation rules since, I don't know, 2017 or 2018, but still many condo doesn't have it. So what you can do is to collect your recycling material and send it to nearest recycling stations, or call the recycling service provider to pick up from you. So where you can get the list of all the recycling service providers, you can go to Zero Waste Malaysia Facebook group, and Zero Waste Malaysia website, and then you can search from the Zero Waste Malaysia map. I think we have more than dozens of recycling service providers in the whole country.
Yep, correct. Okay, so again, so sorry, I have to like rush because we are running out of time. So next, let's move on to the hygiene part of keeping a low waste lifestyle during the pandemic. So I would like to put a disclaimer that both Aurora and myself are not experts in providing advices or tips relating to like hygiene or like medical advices. But this is from what we experienced before, and we just want to share lah. So there is a question on hand sanitizers. So the person asked, is there such a thing as an eco-friendly hand sanitizer? So I do have my opinions on this as well. I think we can approach it in two different ways. One, we can look at the packaging, and another, we can look at the ingredients. If you want to answer it first, Aurora, give your opinions on that.
I do believe the most eco-friendly hand sanitizer is when you don't use hand sanitizer. so my suggestion is always like following the 5R rule. So refuse first. So if you don't have to go out, then you just stay at home. If you stay at home, then you don't have to use hand sanitizer. You can always use soap and water to clean your hands, and it works better than hand sanitizer. Scientifically proved that it is better than hand sanitizer. But when you have to go out and then you have to use it, then you have to buy from more eco-friendly manufacturer. So like what Marylyn suggested, you can look at their ingredients, maybe plant-based, natural ingredients, not so much chemicals. And also the packaging, is that refillable or is that not refillable? If it's not refillable, is it in glass, is it in metal, or is it in plastic packaging? The hand sanitizer that I'm using is from Zero Waste Store. So it is firstly made of plant-based ingredients. Secondly, it is refillable. But thirdly, I think the most eco-friendly thing is that I don't use it very often. So I bought like few hundred ml from them before the MCO, but now I only use maybe 20% of it.
Yeah, I think my tip to be more eco-friendly in the sense is you look for ingredients that are biodegradable, that are naturally derived. And then in terms of like minimizing your packaging waste, you can buy in bulk. You can buy from like bulk store, package free store, or zero waste stores, buy them in bulk, and then just refill into your individual small packaging lah. Also on facial mask, if you have a comment or opinions on making your facial mask or using disposable facial mask.
You mean for the virus?
Yeah, during the...
Okay, so I think for my personal perspective, it is always better to use certified surgical mask, and it provides the best protection for you. But of course, there are not a lot of people can't afford to use single-use disposable masks. So another way is to make your own face mask. I'm not sure how good is that, because it depends on the material that you use, the material that you make it. But there are many tutorials online, and it is also approved by many governments around the country, around the world. So yeah, once again, I think the most eco-friendly way is not to use it at all when you are not necessary to go out. So stay at home as much as possible, so then you can reduce the amount of face mask that you use. So I also bought a pack of face masks before Chinese New Year. It is about 40 pieces. Now I still have 10 pieces after sharing 20 pieces with my friends and families. So you can imagine how little that I use. So this is once again like refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. And yeah, that is my opinion on this.
Yeah, it really depends on how comfortable you are. It really depends on how comfortable you are, right? Like, let's say if you do stay at home all the time, then there isn't a necessary need to wear a facial mask. I also saw like a video before whereby this person did a bunch of research on available studies on facial masks, if like homemade facial masks are better or not, or more effective or less effective. But unfortunately, there's not enough studies that can prove that whether it is more effective or less effective. So again, I think it's up to an individual's preference, whether you want to use mask, not use a mask, use homemade mask, use disposable mask. It's really up to an individual preference lah. But again, of course, definitely check out what our Ministry of Health advises, check out what the WHO advises as well.
My way to deal with this is one last sharing.
No
way
worries.
that I use the disposable mask is that I reuse it for many times. But because I only go out once every 2 weeks, so every time when I go back home, I just remove my mask and I put at the corner of my house and just put it there for 2 weeks. So what can kill virus effectively? Time. Because time can kill virus. Virus cannot live outside of their host, so outside of the human body. So if you put it there long enough, then the virus will be dead. But this is not hygienic.
And the temperature as well.
Yeah. But this is not hygienic, because a virus is dead, but bacteria might grow on your face mask. So that is what you need to give and take lah. And that's how I reuse.
I'm so sorry, but I'm so sorry, but I have to cut because we have 13 seconds remaining on Instagram, apparently, because we did start earlier. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Do remember, we do have 2 more lives this Friday and Sunday. I will continue talking on on Facebook. So we do have two
Live
more live
Instagram is
this
already
week
ended.
on Friday and on Sunday. Friday, it will be with Elena. We will be talking about low waste Ramadan and zero waste fridge and pantry. Sorry, they will be doing a tour of their fridge and pantries. How exciting! And then on Sunday at 3 p.m., we will be talking with Nadia on how can pet owners be more zero waste. How do you care for your pets? Zero waste. So those are very interesting topics, and we will have more upcoming topics next week as well. We will be posting about that soon. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Aurora, if you have a few last words of encouragement, of tips, guidances that you have been sharing with us.
Okay, I have here. You see, I write all the notes here. Okay, so I think during this pandemic, it's very challenging to continue a zero waste lifestyle, but it's not the end of the world as long as you still believe in the philosophy that I mentioned earlier. And instead of keep looking what we cannot do during this special period of time, I would like to encourage everyone to look what you can do, and what you have done to the environment when you are staying at home. You are not creating burden to the society, and you are not traveling around, you are not using fossil fuel to fuel your car, so you are already doing a lot of things that is good for environment. So if you order food delivery, you can feel guilty, but don't be disappointed to yourself, because you are already trying your best. But of course, everyone, including me or you, can do more, better, like better and better, until one day we are like B. Johnson or Lawrence Singer, that they can put their trash in one jar for so many years. But that is a goal, right? It's not a standard. If you cannot reach that goal, it's fine. And always look at what we can learn from this pandemic and how it can change your life or your future journey on zero waste. Have you learned to make your own bread? Have you get more connected with your local business? Have you start eating organic foods? They are all the benefits that we all gain from this pandemic. But for my conclusion, it is always safety come first, because when you die, you cannot do anything to protect the environment. And when you die, you will release a lot of carbon emission. No, just kidding. So you have to stay alive, and then to spread the message, and then do the good things to the environment. So protect yourself and do whatever you can to keep yourself and your family and everyone that you meet safe and healthy. And that is the best thing that you can do during this period of time.
I agree. Thank you, Aura. You have been super inspirational, super informative. A lot of people are like saying thank you as well. Thank you all
Really?
for
Okay.
Lily made her own tauge. Good job.
Oh,
Again, I
nice.
see a lot of people doing their own, like germinating their own vegetables these days.
Yeah,
I feel like I
you
should
can.
I should get on with that as well and make my own
Yeah,
vegetables.
just them to go join the Zero Waste Malaysia Facebook group, because I also learned so much from these people. The last thing that I did was to replace the baking paper
Eating shit,
with
yeah.
the corn husk, also inspired by one of the members. So it is a
True.
journey, so let's learn together.
I agree. Okay, I think Aurora, we will end our session here as well. I hope I didn't forget to say anything else. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye. Jumpa lagi as what? Or I also want to thank Sui and Jessica, who are doing all of the back end processes, helping us to make sure that there's no technical issues for tonight. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, not easy to
Bye.
go live. Okay, bye. And then, are we still
And
on Facebook? How do we know we are offline already?